The Mayans believed that humans were not the only civilization ever on Earth. They think that the Earth has now appeared in 5 solar ages. Before humans, 4 highly intelligent civilizations were destroyed by gods. So we, humans, are the 5th wave of civilizations waiting to perish. There are 2 versions of this legend that have changed over time. Today, I'm going to talk about it. First, let's talk about the new version. According to legend, the first human civilization is called the Gendaya civilization, which is a civilization with superpowers. About 960,000 years ago, a new continent, Gendaya, swelled up in the sea between the African and South American continents due to an undersea volcanic eruption. It was here that the first humans appeared on Earth. They are generally not high, about 1 meter or so. But what is very peculiar is that the men here have a mysterious third eye on their foreheads. The color of the third eye varies depending on the race. There are 8 colors in total, including yellow, green, and emerald. Nevertheless, there is still the most primitive power in their eyes. What power? They can predict the future. They can control various natural elements with their mind, such as wind, soil, lightning strikes, etc. However, the women here do not have a third eye. Therefore, women here are more afraid of men. That is to say, here is an absolute machismo civilization. However, their God created both men and women equally. Men have superpowers to protect their families and the country, but women's wombs can communicate with gods. Before a woman becomes pregnant, she will communicate with God in heaven. And only after she communicates with God will God transmit the spirit of the child to the woman's womb. So in that civilization, the act of abortion is absolutely not allowed. But later, about 730,000 years ago, like in the Bible, a terrible flood struck. The entire Gendaya continent split and sank to the bottom of the sea, and the Gendaya civilization disappeared utterly. The second civilization is called the Mesopotamia civilization. Mesopotamia here does not mean the Sumerian civilization. They just have the same name. According to legend, these people lived in the most mysterious continent now, Antarctica. The people here are some escapees from the Gendaya civilization. They escaped to the South Pole, so they survived. However, the descendants of this group of fugitives have forgotten everything about the past, and even their unique third eye has slowly disappeared, so their superpowers have also been forgotten. Later, the Mesopotamia civilization also disappeared in the Antarctic continent due to the Earth's magnetic pole shift. The third prehistoric civilization is called the Lemuria civilization, also called the Maria civilization. They existed from about 35,000 to 15,000 years ago, and were also the continuation of the fugitives of the last civilization. In the previous civilization, the Mesopotamia civilization, these people began to notice the enormous energy produced when plants were sprouting. Later, after the improvement of the Lemuria civilization, they invented the super machine that uses plant energy, so their civilization developed rapidly. The fourth prehistoric civilization is the famous Atlantis civilization. However, they are not escapees from the previous civilization. According to legend, Atlantis was an alien colonizer from the constellation Orion. They have the power of light and exist on Earth simultaneously as the Lemuria civilization. Later, a nuclear war broke out between the two sides, and as a result, both civilizations were destroyed. The legends I mentioned are not the Mayan legends about ancient human beings. So, what is the real Mayan legend? In fact, this legend did not come from the Mayans at all, but their neighbors, the Aztecs. 4 prehistoric humans are mentioned in the Aztec creation myth first. Later, the Mayans also absorbed such legends from the Aztecs. The Aztecs believed that in the beginning, the whole world consisted of only water, and in these pristine waters, a god who created the gods appeared called a mediatal, which means 2 gods. Because this creation god is a bisexual god, he or she is both a male god and a goddess. At the same time, he or she represents both justice and evil. He or she represents all the opposites of the whole world. He or she is the real omnipotent, omnipresent God. Moreover, he or she is also the God who created the gods. It was he or she who later gave birth to the four main gods of the Aztecs. Moreover, these four gods had four different colors and lived in four directions: north, south, east, and west of this water area. The east is ruled by the white Quetzalcoatl, the god of life, light, and wisdom. The south is ruled by the blue Huitzilopochtli, the god of war and will. The west is ruled by the red Etched, the god of ritual flaying and agriculture. The north is ruled by the black Tezcatlipoca, the god of providence, the invisible and darkness. Tezcatlipoca is strange. He is not like other gods who will represent some force of nature, but he represents nothing. He is considered a god of chaos and fickleness. He often makes fun of people. As long as he shows up, people will die. Legend has it that he once appeared as a young warrior. Then he drummed and sang, and all who heard the sound were mesmerized and danced involuntarily. However, every time a song is sung or dance is performed, someone involuntarily falls into the abyss. There is also a crocodilian earth monster called Sapakli in this sea. It has a very fierce personality and is always hungry. According to legend, every joint on its body has a mouth. The four gods who lived in the sea came up with a solution. The black Tezcatlipoca in the north used one of his feet as bait to lure the water monster closer, and the four gods worked together to kill it. Finally, they also created the world with Sapakli's body. Then, the four sons' legend of humanity began. The first son. Perhaps because of Tezcatlipoca's legs as bait, in the first son, the whole world was dominated by Tezcatlipoca. But there was no sun then, so Tezcatlipoca became the sun. Unfortunately, however, Tezcatlipoca happens to be the black god, so he can only become half the sun. These four gods then co-created other gods, such as Tlaloc, the god of the rain, Chowchiatlica, the water goddess, and so on. Then they created humans. However, the human beings at that time were different from those now. According to legend, each was a giant and usually ate acorns to survive. Moreover, they also picked the tallest giant to stand up to the sky and hold up the world. However, this world did not last forever. Tezcatlipoca's brother Quetzalcoatl is very jealous of his brother's status because he also wants to dominate the world. So unexpectedly, Quetzalcoatl knocked down half the sun from the sky with a stone hammer. So the whole world suddenly became dark. Tezcatlipoca was very angry and thought, "Quetzalcoatl, don't you just want to replace me to be worshipped by humans? You can't even get what I can't get." So in a rage, he ordered the jaguar to eat everyone in the world. So it is the end of the first sun era. The second sun. Of course, this time, it was Quetzalcoatl who ruled. This time, the gods created a new group of humans to inhabit the earth. However, this time they were not giants, but normal-sized humans. Then Quetzalcoatl became the new sun. However, with time, the degree of civilization of the people on Earth is getting higher and higher. Just like in today's world, almost no one worships the gods anymore. It made Tezcatlipoca angry again, thinking, "Have you humans forgotten my power and authority?" So he turned all humans into monkeys at once. Quetzalcoatl becomes distraught when he sees the intelligent human beings he created have become ordinary monkeys. So he also launched the most powerful hurricane in history, destroying all life on Earth. The third sun. This time, Tlaloc, the god of the rain, became the sun. But unexpectedly, Tezcatlipoca quietly seduced and stole his wife Xochiquetzal, while Tlaloc was the sun in the sky. Tlaloc is very sad and refuses to do anything but immerse himself in his grief every day. So soon, Severe drought swept the whole world. People kept praying to the water god that it would rain quickly, but he just refused to rain. When humans see that it doesn't rain, they keep praying. As a result, unexpectedly, the human prayers not only did not move Tlaloc, but made him even more upset. Finally, in a rage, he said, "Aren't you pray for rain? I'll give you a fire rain." An overwhelming fire rain fell directly until the entire earth was burned up. Humanity is extinct again, and the third sun age ends. The fourth sun. This time, Tlaloc's new wife Chowchiotlik became the fourth sun. Chowchiotlik is very loving towards humanity. However, Tezcatlipoca doesn't think so. Therefore, he kept judging and slandering Chowchiotlik, saying that she did not love human beings, but pretended to be kind out of selfishness to gain people's praise. In the end, Chowchiotlik was overwhelmed by these words. Her heart continued to bleed for the next 52 years, causing the terrible flood. Then, finally, the fourth sun age ends. After 4 times of the sun, the gods could no longer accept the destruction of these gods. So they built a bonfire, hoping to have a meeting to pick out a god jointly. And if anyone was chosen, whoever jumped into the fire would become the ultimate sun. 2 gods, Nanahuatzin and Texas-Tekel, vied for the honor. Nanahuatzin, a poor god, was chosen because he could be spared. Proud Texas-Tekel was a son of Tlaloc and Chowchiotlik. He insisted on the honor, but hesitated at the last moment. Nanahuatzin showed more courage and jumped into the fire. Texas-Tekel gained his courage and followed Nanahuatzin, thus forming 2 suns in the sky. The gods looked. How could this work? 2 suns must scorch the earth. So these gods took rabbits and threw them in the face of the second sun. As a result, the brightness of the second sun was obviously reduced. So he became the moon. However, although the sun and the moon already exist, the most important human beings are not there yet. Just imagine how boring it would be for these gods to live in this world without the worship of human beings. So Quetzalcoatl came to the underworld and stole the bones of former humans from Mictlantecutli, the god of the dead. Then he used his blood and corn mixed with the bones of ancient human beings to make the present human. So why did the Aztecs hold such a horrific flaying ceremony, offering sacrifices to Quetzalcoatl with the blood of a living person? Because they believed that if these sacrifices ceased, or if humanity failed to please the gods for other reasons, this fifth sun would turn black again, and another catastrophe would destroy the world. Are these just ancient legends? Whether it is a great flood, fire rain, the sinking of the continent, or the mass extinction of life. Let's take a look at where the Mayans and Aztecs were located around what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. After the survey of modern scientists, the legendary asteroid that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs, the location where it smashed was just around here. Could the tsunami caused by the falling asteroid be the legendary flood? Could the volcanic eruption triggered at the same time be the legendary fire rain? Could the place where the asteroid fell is the birthplace of a prehistoric civilization? Hence, the legend of the disappearance of the continent and the mass extinction of living things. Are these just coincidences? Or the genetic memory etched in our genes? I will talk more about Maya in the next episode.